What's it been like since Sunday? How have they responded from that, getting ready for the new part of the season, or the new season?
Yeah, things have been good. I think from the standpoint of just sitting down and getting these guys to understand what lies ahead. I thought we had a very good practice yesterday, which sometimes doesn't mean a whole lot anymore, but it was probably as good as we could have practiced yesterday. So, not knowing who you're playing, I think there's a little bit of, from their standpoint, we've just told them, hey, this is about us getting better. We're going to work on the things we need to work on, and that's kind of what we've done so far.
D'Angelo just brought up on his own Kemba Walker and Shabazz Napier. Obviously, guys that had huge individual tournament performances and leading their teams the right way. Obviously, you guys want him to play as well as he can and help boost you guys, but how do you balance just him feeling like he needs to do too much and just staying within himself?
Well, I think what he was talking about is we told our guys, UConn a couple years ago got beat by 33 points by Louisville in like the last game of the year or something, and went on and went to the Final Four. So like that, I think that's more so what he was going down the lines with.
As far as the same vein of the question, though, like how, because he probably still in the same scenario feels like he needs to perform a certain way. How do you balance, stay calm, play within yourself, your first tournament?
Yeah, well, I think the thing you've probably noticed with D'Angelo, and I'll swear to this, D'Angelo would probably rather average 15 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds and win than score 25 points and that sort of thing. I mean, that's kind of his mentality. He doesn't take to losing easy. He spent a lot of time talking with myself and the coaches and just saying, hey, what do we got to do since Wednesday or since Sunday? What do you want me to do? How can I get these guys? Let's do whatever we need to do. That kid cares.
Does Sunday worry you, or do you, now that you flip the switch to a time where you excel, this program has excelled, your record is pretty incredible in the Big Ten tournament. Does this team go, all right, we got to show up?
Yeah, I think from the standpoint of you can't do anything about what happened. You go back 4 years ago, we beat Wisconsin worse than they beat us on senior day. You know what I'm saying? And they went on, I think, went to the Sweet 16 and that sort of thing. So for me, it's more of just having the understanding that we can't change what happened Sunday. Okay, that's over with. We had one of those games. Let's don't have another one of those the remainder of the season. I hope that we wash it down the drain afterwards and guys are ready to go.
Compared to other teams you had that, is this a team that, I can't think of a better word, resilient, or is this a fragile team that you have to kind of build up after a loss like that, or are they a team that kind of realize that it's easy to bounce back from that?
I wish I could answer that. I don't think I. It's a great question, Rusty. But I don't know. I don't know if I can give you a direct answer. What we lost maybe 2 in a row one time this year, and a few years ago we had the longest streak in the country of not losing 2 in a row. Last year we lost 4 or 5, I think it was. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how they come out and play. I mean, I want them to feel the heat.
But after a loss like Sunday, can you tell a difference the next day or the 2 days after that? I mean, does it linger with them, or they forget about it and move on, or what kind of kids are they in terms of their?
Each of them is a little bit different, I think. Each of them acts a little bit differently after a win, a loss. I think kids are more apt than coaches to move on. But as a coach, you have to move on. We're looking at our team saying, hey, we're not doing these things well. We got to get better at these. We got to correct this. But it's one of those deals of at this point of the season, you better be resilient or you're going to be done, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Coach, sorry to keep harping on Sunday, but I think you have never even lost a regular season finale before going into the Big Ten tourney in your time here. To not only lose it, but to lose it like that. When you're trying to get your players, you mentioned you're anxious to see what they do tomorrow. Is it in a way maybe easier for them to snap out of it because of the way they lost that kind of sends the message pretty clear to those guys?
I hope so. I think, the one thing I know about kids, they really don't care about history. So what I've done, really doesn't resonate with them from Butler to Xavier to here. But, I hope it does snap us out of it that hey, we did not play well. Going back looking at Wisconsin was great. I mean, they were awesome. A lot of good things happened for them, and they were deserving of the win the way they won. But, like I said, I look forward to tomorrow night at 8 o'clock to see just who shows up and how they show up in the mindset that they have.
Seniors had a rough night on senior night. Did you have a special message or anything that you wanted to share with them or tell them after that game?
Not really. I mean, just simply playing better is an option.
I think you mentioned the other night on your radio show, I think you mentioned David, Lighty, and D'Angelo as guys who enjoy everything, like every part of the day, school,
right.
Basketball. And I just wondered if you had a sense after that game on Sunday that is everybody on this team enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, or did you sense that it's becoming a chore for some of these guys?
No, they enjoy it a different way. And I say that from the standpoint, like David Light was a guy, if we practiced 6 in the morning or 12 midnight, when whatever time practice started, he would be drenched in sweat, yelling, screaming, running around. He was always in the gym before practice, getting shots, all those things. But I think every guy is a little bit different in how they approach it. And I think that's one of the things that I've seen with D'Angelo. He's always got energy in practice. Now he'll have a bad day every now and then, but he wants to compete. He wants to motivate the guys on his team, that sort of thing.
But are you sensing that from the rest of the team, though, as they go into this new part of the season? Are they energized?
Yeah, yesterday they were. I mean, I think there's no question about it. And I think it somebody just gave me a great quote by Tom Izzo, and I could not agree more. They asked him about the pressure of March, and it's the greatest quote I've ever seen, and I'd like to reiterate it, but put it that I said it, not him. If you don't like pressure in March, you came to the wrong program. I mean, you chose the wrong school. If you don't want the pressure tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, if you don't want the pressure the next day, going into the NCAA tournament, if you don't want that, we made a mistake recruiting you.
Just one quick thing is, what about Anthony for this week?
I don't think he's going to be able to go. I really don't.
How maybe like you and the rest of the coaches kind of like give him a head nod as far as like to like take over games or to like kind of get underneath his teammate's skin a little bit more. What is that kind of like balance like, or that conversation? Because obviously he's your team's best player, but like you have a bunch of seniors who have been through March and now he's coming into it for the first time.
I think from that perspective, he's just going to play. And I think that it's shown when he kind of gets going, so does everybody else. And and hey, he's had some bad games, and guys have played well. I mean, I think we're putting so much on him. We got to get these other guys playing. D'Angelo didn't play well Sunday. He'll be the first to tell you that. But I think from the standpoint of collectively, everybody's got to be on their best game, and that's something we talked about. How do we get ourselves that mentality to play our best basketball when we take the floor? It's not, we're all on the same page. If you're fortunate enough to win, everybody's got a short turnaround. Everybody's got it's that sort of thing. So it's finding ways to get the job done. Everybody.
Going back to something you said, I think even a few months ago, about D'Angelo and his recruitment and how some kids need to be recruited really hard and some kids don't, and D'Angelo was in the don't category. Can you reflect now just on what he's become and how unique maybe it was to recruit a kid like that has turned out the way he has, and just what the whole recruitment process was like? Yeah,
well, I've said this. I think the easiest recruitment I've ever had in my life was Greg Oden and Michael Conley, because they knew what they wanted. They were looking for the right fit. It wasn't a dog and pony show. It was, hey, I'm looking for this. And D'Angelo was a lot of the same way, just like, hey, I think I can come there and get better. I think I can make an impact and play. So I don't need the 15 texts from a coach every day. I don't need all the mail, all that stuff. He just wants to come in and play. And I think there's something to be said for that. because he's never wavered since he's got here. I mean, his job is his job, and that's what he's doing. He never looks to the right or the left and says, what if, or anything like that. It's like, hey, it's on.
One quick follow-up.
Obviously, he went to prep school, but he's from Kentucky. There's a program in Kentucky that has a lot of really good freshmen. What do you think the difference has been for him kind of being the main guy in a system like yours, and how much better of a situation could that be for a player like him than maybe being one of many at a place like Kentucky?
Probably a couple $1 million, you know. I think from the standpoint of everybody's different. And for whatever reason, I think he was a kid, for 3 years, I shouldn't have said that, but I don't think he wanted to go back to Kentucky when he went to the state of Kentucky when he left to go to Florida, and you'd have to ask him that. But he was pretty adamant with what he wanted in terms of what he was looking for in the recruiting process and what he wanted in a college choice.
Was Kentucky even a factor with him?
Not really. I mean, they had the twins and all that stuff, I think, so no.
You've had a lot of teams that have done very well in the conference tournament. Some of your predecessors didn't even really want to go to the conference tournament. What is it that differentiates a team that plays well in a conference tournament from one that doesn't, or a program that does continually well?
Yeah, I don't know.
Killing me today.
I know it. Your questions are stymieing me. I don't know. We've, from Butler to Xavier to here, for whatever reason, our teams have always done well in the conference tournament. And there's no, I know we've talked about this in previous years. I mean, it's not like we feed them something different or we do scouting different or anything like that. It just kind of clicks, I think, and that's why I'm interested to see how these guys do.
When you say kids don't really care about history, you don't mean like their class if they're taking a history class, right? I just want to make sure.
No, yeah,
it's
exactly.
like not accounting or English too. They don't like they care
Right,
about that.
yeah, no question. Yeah, but our guys care about all their academic classes. Yeah.
Let me try to ask it this way. When you've had teams, that have had success, which has been a lot of them, what has to happen? What needs to go right? What do these guys need to do to make a run? You know what I mean?
That was a lot easier. I can answer that. No, I think. Yeah, exactly. No, you need a little bit of luck. I think a lot of it is getting through that first game. Whoever we play will have played a game in there before us. They're going to be a little bit more, and I know we played in December in there, but you've got to be a tough-minded basketball team. You've got to have sort of a relentless approach. The year Evan hit the shot in the first round, we hadn't played in like 11 or 12 days, and I knew that was going to be an ugly game. But I thought if we could get through that, and then the next day we go to double overtime with Illinois, and then I think we're up 3 at half against Minnesota. A guy banks a shot in at the end of the half, and then all of a sudden we win 90-something to 60. I mean, it was just like it got rolling, it got clicking. And I think one of the big keys is that togetherness that you have, because it is just game after game after game, and you've got to have a purpose. You got to have a cause when you go into these things. Yep.
You were talking a week or so ago, Doug was asking you about close games, and I just wondered from the standpoint of what do you think is more draining on a team, coming back all the time the way you've done it this year, or going wire to wire close, or having a lead late and letting it slip away and then having that game come? What's your experience with that type of?
I would probably say having a lead slip away is a little bit more draining, because there's so many, you can look at so many things and say, this caused it, this caused it, this caused it. Yeah. All right, thank you guys.